Don't be tapping any music out, Marty. Don't be tapping it.
Sorry, Zuckerberg and all the powers that be. Justin keeps telling me I'm not allowed to swear.
They'll be modern than that. They'll be lip reading. They'll be lip reading. Is anybody watching this tonight? Oh, nobody's watching this tonight because they've got that used the Sunday. Oh, there's a few people watching now. They've realised it's 10 o'clock and they've got the notification.
No,
thanks for watching, folks. Sorry we weren't here last night.
See, ever the consummate professional, what I would be. This is very good.
I know, but I know.
No. Boy! As you can see, I'm in unfamiliar surroundings again, guys. I was working last night, so I'm not that long finished with dinner. I was down eating with a group of people, lovely group of people, nice bunch of guys who, pretty nice.
Good stuff. Peter's saying he's watching. Yes, there's more than you watching, Peter. This is where I was last night. I was inebriated in Ballycastle. Look at that there. Inebriated. That's me on the steps of the Masonic Hall. No, I'm not in the Masonic, by the way. It just happens to be the steps of the Masonic Hall.
Would you be allowed to admit that you were in the... See, just now you're casting doubts, because we would be thinking maybe Johnson is one of the funny handshake boys.
We'll be getting Zuckerberg definitely then.
Oh, no.
Tony Sillett saying hello, good evening to you. David Boyd Armstrong saying hello, evening, and Peter Galbraith as well. It's a bit different this show this week because what we're
going to talk about is basically probably the first ever whiskey region, if you like. I know this is all a bit of a clouded and mystery type thing, and there's always the nonsense with the who invented whiskey. Not that it's all that bigly important, to be quite honest with you, but we're going to talk a little bit about the first ever whiskey region of Dalriada. Or to pronounce it properly, because I had the guy sort of pull me on this one time. Dalriada, right? That's how it was supposed to be. It's all. Okay. John,
I better not try and pronounce any of these words here at all, Marty.
No, your pronunciation of that stuff. You're only good at German whenever you're talking to the Germans, and then you always bring up Justin when he's doing a tour.
Don't mention the VAR.
When Justin's doing a tour. When Justin's doing a tour of Belfast and people are on the cruise ship and they're going to Titanic and they're German, because Justin speaks a bit of German, Oh, hang on, I have to do it that way, don't I? Am I pointing at you now? Anyway, Justin speaks, and he always happens to say, "Oh, while you're in British waters, while you're in Irish waters, just make sure that you go onto YouTube and watch the Titanic film, what you're not allowed to watch in Germany." When people from Germany have no idea what he's talking about, and it's one that was made by the Nazis. There's a bad thing and you play a bad thing.
I know. Oh boy. So listen. Where is this place? Is this it? Are we going here?
No. Well, you see, this is the thing, Justin. Right? Anyone who watched the BBC show with Mark Thompson and Finoan. Well, we all know Finoan. Whiskey, origins of whiskey is always a bit in doubt, but it kind of went from Ireland across to Scotland, and where it probably went was probably over the Lords of the Isles, with the Beatons or possibly with the monks, and if it was with the monks, then it was probably over Iona direction, or the medics with the Beatons, who were the physicians to kind of the Scottish royal family, although they were the Lords of the Isles and the Hebrides in the western part of Scotland, who were related to the MacDonalds, down in County Antrim, down in Glenarm, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, who knows? But we kind of think it went from Ireland across to Scotland. We think, but again, it's all a bit mystical. Now tonight I'm in a hotel, so I had to pay big money and get and get a wee drinky of Islay whiskey. Ardbeg 10. Lovely.
Oh, Ardbeg 10. Shall we do Ardbeg first then, as if I hadn't this planned for 3 months beforehand? Is Ardbeg the first of these distilleries then, or does the first one not exist anymore?
No such thing as a first. But basically, there's a connection between sort of the legality of whiskey and also the manufacture. And what I mean by that is James I or James VI of Scotland. Well, he granted the license for Bushmills in 1608. We see it in all the bottles. Now, it wasn't actually to a distillery, it was to the townland, or it was actually, more appropriately, it was actually to the Englishmen who took over that townland up there at the time, right? So the first whiskey license, if you like, license to distill, was granted to that area, okay, Bushmills. We all kind of know the backstory of this. But a lot of people don't know is that the following year, he issued what was called the Statutes of Iona, which banned the Western Isles of Scotland from importing wine from France, because he was king of Scotland and England. It's a very sort of weird dynamic. Scotland had a very, very old alliance with France called the Isle Alliance, as it was known. But now he's king of England, and English people and French don't get on historically, just in case anybody's not sure. And you're not allowed to say that they really dislike each other, because
even though Marty, London is France's fourth biggest French-speaking city.
Well,
everybody in England has a holiday home in France.
Well, there was actually a campaign not that long ago to see about getting French MPs, or whatever as you call them in France, for London, because there's so many French people living in London. But no, the English and the French historically haven't gone on. So he had a bit of a strange dynamic going on. So he passed the Statutes of Iona, which prohibited the importation of wine into the Western Isles of Scotland. Now, it wasn't failure, but it kind of gives you an idea of what he was trying to do. Because the guys weren't going to stop drinking, let's be honest. So there was more of an emphasis to switch over to whiskey, or switch over to distilled spirit, or something else, an alternative. Now, for a lot of people who aren't familiar with the area, the north of Ireland and the western part of Scotland are only 12 miles apart at the closest point. And Islay is really, really, really close to Ireland. I mean, you can't see it from my house, but you can see the paps of Jura, which are, if Islay's there, Jura's just up here. And it's just because the mountains are so big on Jura. So they're really, really close. And that's probably how whiskey went from Ireland across to Scotland. How it got there, there's a legend that it went with one of the O'Neill princesses who married one of the Lord of the Isles, and whiskey was taken over as her dowry. It's probably not true, but it could very well be. Who knows? It's all lost to the mystery of time.
So a couple of people are saying hello. Jody Burke saying hello from Prince Edward Island. Frank Hearn's actually saying
Potato Island, remember?
Yes. And Frank Hearn's actually saying, even though, Justin, we were just across the water in Rathlin for the last few days with all the family. And of course, it's halfway the island, more or less, or a third of the way there. A few whiskies were consumed. They called into both up for lunch before they went over. Lovely. Morton's Fish and Chips is highly recommended as well. And then we're on the other side of the English Channel. Eric Van End is saying, even guys from Antwerp and Belgium, hello to you as well. Lots of people are watching tonight already. We are on the wrong night. We were indisposed last night. Yeah. And remember to comment, to like, to share with your friends. We're on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Telegram, Twitch. We also do Instagram, but Instagram TV doesn't exist anymore, so you can't watch it on there. But we're talking about Islay because we're going to Islay tonight.
We'll just reverse back a wee bit. I'll just talk about the whiskey connection to Rathlin. I don't think I ever told you this one, did I?
I don't think you did ever.
No, you see, the Earls of Antrim, or the MacDonald's family, who were at one point were lords of the Isles across, and they would have owned Islay and all that kind of stuff, right? And the fifth Earl, who was a bit of a gambler, and they started off when he took over, took the job on, they had 330,000 acres of ground. Okay, basically all the way down the north coast, Cushendall, all the way down to Larne and all of that. That all belonged to them. But he thought he was a pretty good gambler. Let you in the secret, Justin. He wasn't great. Right? What happened was he also thought he was a bit of a drinker. He wasn't great at that either. So what happened was they used to play cards, and people would have brought him a bottle of whiskey, and he'd been sitting drinking and playing cards, and he lost Rathlin Island on the turn of a card. The whole island, he lost that on the turn of a card. So whiskey did what inheritance taxes failed to do, Justin. It broke up the big estates, and it went from 330,000 acres down to about 30,000. It's a good job he died young, otherwise he'd have been absolutely potless. He'd been totally broke.
Well, there you go. Whiskey played its part. Of course, there was a lot of whiskey distilleries knocking around that we didn't really know about and came and gone through the centuries. I mean, even Carrickfergus had a brewery at one point.
At a brewery. I also had a distillery, Justin. There is a distinct difference. No, there was thousands of distilleries over that came and went. Everyone thinks these days that today it's the big Irish whiskey gold rush as such, but we're just over 40 distilleries. By the time I say this, we're probably heading towards 50. But at one point, the late 18th century, there was well over 1,000, and they were opening up all over the place. So yeah, Islay has had loads, but what Islay is famous for is that distinctly peated whiskey. Even though there's a fair amount made that's not peated. This is Ardbeg 10, which is a really good, really accessible, affordable Islay whiskey, and it has that lovely, distinctive peatiness, a real heavy smoke. It's not Lefroy. It doesn't have the huge TCP hit that Lefroy has, and it's medicinal, but not in the same way that Lefroy would be.
Yeah, and of course they're very close together, actually, aren't they?
Well, from Port Ellen to Lefroy's 1 mile, and then from Lefroy to Lagavulin is a mile, and from Lagavulin to Ardbeg is another mile. So the thing about Islay is the spiritual capital of Scotch whisky. Speyside's the factory of the whole thing. I mean, Speyside just churns out loads and loads and loads. But for the sort of spiritual homeland, Islay is, and put it in the context, Islay is, per head of capita, the biggest tax-raising area of the whole of the UK. You think of the hundreds of thousands of bottles that they turn out every year, hundreds of thousands of them. And each one of those, if they're sold in the UK, basically, say, for easy counting, £11 in tax off each bottle. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, when they talk about Scotland and the oil money, in terms of per person working in the industry, Islay totally outstrips that per person, in terms of revenue, tax revenue.
It is indeed a beautiful place. We're going there on Saturday, the 1st of October. And we're basically hitting people up that want to go with us. Now, there's a few spaces left, right?
Yeah, so spaces are very limited. Very limited.
We're going to have to do it in first come, first serve.
We have a number of people. There's not that many places left. And by not that many places, we're talking about 5-6 places maximum.
Okay. So, we don't want to go into the route of doing 2 boats, because then it's hot. I'd have to go on one, Marty'd have to go on the other, and then if his boat sunk and he died, we wouldn't have a show. All right. So listen.
Me and Justin are like Prince Charles and Prince William. We can't travel together in case something happens to us.
Yeah, that's right. Yes. I could always get Fionnán to do the show if you died in the boat. I suppose you get Ryan to do the show if I died. But anyway, listen.
All I would say is this: if Putin decides to take us out, it'd probably be easier to target on your wee baldy head than it would be in mine.
I'm shining tonight. But listen, people like Michael Caldwell has already got his name into the hat.
Michael's definitely coming with us.
He's just coming with us, but he's coming on his own. But you see, if you want to book 2 people or 3 people, you have to let us know now. You have to let us know now, because you don't want to say to your mates, "Are you going?" and they say yes, and then you go, "No, we can't go." All right.
There's very limited space now. It's a private chartered boat. Okay, just so you know, it's a private chartered boat. We'll be going over.
Oh, it's all the safety gear and the solace and all the rest of it. And I'll be videoing if the helicopter has to come and rescue us, so there'll be no bother. Listen, we went the last time in a Force 9 keel.
Crazy. Can I tell the story about my mate? The mate, we were going across the last time. This is obviously a few years ago with COVID, and we were going across, and I had a mate who was going, and he was just on the booze all day. You know, he was on the beer basically first thing. We're going across, and the sea was dead rough. It's not normally like that. Hang on, what the hell's that?
I'm trying to get a Zuckerberg to give him a music that shouldn't have played, but there you go.
So we were going to go across, and we were going across, and it was like we'd been warned that the sea was rough. Why are you playing that music?
I'm not playing the music, but you're hearing it.
Right. Well, just if you could turn that off, would be a good idea.
No, I'm not playing it, but it's still playing it.
Right.
Don't know.
So anyway, right, we'll get to the story. We were going across, and it was dead rough, but it was all right. You know, the boat can handle all that. It's no problem. But my mate, he's on the beer. So we go to Islay. We go and I can't remember where we went, but anyway, we went and done that was the day we were doing the Ireland were playing Scotland in the rugby. Do you remember? And the guy got up and put Flora Scotland on 13 times in a row. We thought we were going to get our head kicked in. It was dead funny. But anyway, on the way back, my mate boozed out of his head, and the back of the boat's going like this, right? And it's okay, everything's safe. And John, he stands up and about to head out. I says, "Where are you going?" He says, "Going for a pee." Like, fuck. Sorry, Zuckerberg. It's like pulling it back in again. It was nuts. But no, he
didn't realize there was a toilet out there.
He knew the toilet was out the back, so there is a bathroom and all on it. There's a wee toilet and all on it, so everything's all right that way. But no, he was going to go out. I thought we were going to lose him forever, you know. But no, the sea's not normally like that, and even if it is rough, the boat take it all right. It's no problem.
So obviously we're going to Port Ellen. Hopefully we're going to get to Lefroy, Lagavulin, and Ardbeg, time permitting. 2 or maybe 3 of them. Yeah.
Well, what we'll do is we'll take it as a sort of distillery experiences. It depends what's opening, what we're going to be able to do. We don't want to be doing 3 full whiskey. It would bore me rigid. Oh, these are washbacks, and this does this. It's going to be bothered. What we'll do is if we can go have a drink and a laugh and a giggle and do a wee bit of the history and so on and so forth, and maybe get one of the distilleries.
Have a lunch.
Well, not worry too much. Eat before you go and eat when you come back. Oh no, sorry, I forgot. It's Justin. Forgot. I'm hungry. Can we take snacks? We'll take snacks and that'll do you, sure.
I know. Well, that'll have to do. Now, listen, we've talked a bit about Ardbeg, Lagavulin, Lefroy. There are other ones that are further afield that are more difficult to get
we're going ahead. Try and pronounce them, Justin. Because Justin's pronunciation of these is what's the one there just above Port Charlotte? What do you pronounce that? Yeah. Oh no. Go ahead. What's the one right up at the very top? What's the one way up north there? It's always dead funny people trying to pronounce some of these. I find it amazing that some of these distilleries and stuff, they set their distillery up and they give it a sort of unpronounceable name for people from the States. They try and pronounce it.
Before I started doing this show, I thought that Kikkoman was where the soy sauce come from. And then when you started talking about the umami taste, I thought to myself, Vic's trying to put everybody off going. He says, "Oh man, I hated I hated the ferry to Islay. I always tried to take the plane from Glasgow. Vic, that's the only trouble is the plane from Glasgow costs an absolute bloody fortune.
And if you don't forget, we would have to fly to Glasgow to get the plane to go to Islay.
So it cost half as much again. But listen, Vic, we're going to go. It's an affordable day trip. It's affordable train trip, but 175, something like that. Yeah. So listen, if you want to go, you need to get in touch. You need to direct messages. A couple of other people direct messages last night, actually.
Yeah.
Because I put up a little promo for it whenever we couldn't make the show happen last night. Yeah, Vic. Yeah. Realistically, if this was any other country like the Philippines, they would have heavily subsidized flights around all the regions, but unfortunately they don't. So it's really difficult for us to get. I mean, I've been once. I think Marty's been twice. You've been twice to Ireland. Did you go years ago? Did you? I think you did. Yeah. But listen, listen. You could come too. You could fly over here and go in the boat. Was it flying to Eglinton? Stay the night in Derry and then come over and come with us.
Like saying Diageo were paying. I've been. Yeah. I've been to a couple of Diageo distilleries now with tour groups, Vic, and. It used to be they give you a little bit of an incentive, not an incentive, but a sort of thank you for coming. And they gathered up your points, and maybe got one bottle of whiskey. The Diageo have cut that back because they thought it was too expensive. Because Diageo must be running out of money. Diageo have no money left. The turnover of 16 billion or something like that, but they're running out of money.
That's cheapskate. That's cheapskate.
That's what it is. You don't work for that kind of thing. But it used to be, once you took tour groups into the distilleries, they had a wee card and they give you some money on it, and then at the end of it, literally at the end of the year, you could have probably got yourself maybe a couple of bottles of whiskey at a push. Not anymore, because they've run out.
What's the difference between these distilleries then? Because there's 9 of them? There's more. Is there more than 9 now? There's more than that now.
There's more being built. Well, the thing about it is that all of the you go to the like of Bruichladdich and the unpeated Islay stuff, all the way through something like Lefroy, where really, I mean, Lefroy's like the bad boy. You get other ones that are just massive peat, but they don't have the refinement. They don't have the refinement that the likes of the Lagavulin has. I'm talking. I don't want to cast aspersions on any brand as such, but the likes of Big Pete, and it's got like the sort of bearded, rough, sort of Highlandery looking guy, or whatever way you want to put it. And it's just all about shoving as much peat in as possible, which some people like and entirely up to themselves. But then you go and you see something like Lagavulin and how refined it is, and even the likes of Lefroy. I mean, you wouldn't call Lefroy refined or that kind of thing, but what you're getting there is a very sort of distinctive palate, distinctive signature expression, which is more than just being massive peat. It is a chemical and carbolic nature to it that gives it a complexity that something that's just got massive peat maybe doesn't have, But I mean, most people who have drank lots of blends probably drink any of the blends that have some smoke in it. Probably are drinking bits of Islay whiskey that are put in Kalila. Kalila is a big distillery, but a load of people don't know anything about it because a lot of it goes into blends. So yeah, it's a fantastic spot. It really is. It's beautiful too. I mean, it's a beautiful place.
So how did it become that instead of one big distillery developing, there's all these individual distilleries with individual tastes and flavors then?
Well, I mean, they would have had lots of distilleries, and these are probably some of the ones that were left over, if you like, the ones that managed to get through. But one of the big things was Prohibition in the States played a huge part of it, because Prohibition in the States, you could get whiskey. I mean, that was one of the things. You could get whiskey from your doctor on a prescription, and if you're going to drink a whiskey for medicinal purposes, you kind of want something that tastes medicinal. Ardbeg tastes a lot more medicinal than say a Bushmills. So it kind of has that, as I say, Lagavulin or Lefroy has that sort of carbolic soap notes, which comes through. So it tastes and smells like it should be medicinal and cleansing, if you like.
There you go. A couple of people are asking questions again tonight. Michael Caldwell saying he's definitely a big Lagavulin fan. Yes. Lagavulin, fantastic place. I mean, these places, if you were going to design a whiskey distillery to look like a whiskey distillery, you design it like these places. I mean, you can guess what they were if you didn't know what they were.
Well, the thing about it is, the likes of Lagavulin and stuff, they've been on the go since the early 19th century. And they're not, there's modern equipment in them, but the building intrinsically hasn't changed a huge amount. So they've got that sort of weird, you have to go up the stairs to get to this bit and
down the stairs and all.
And it's all a bit weird. But they obviously do something right. And even though they are owned by big corporations, there's loads of people that really hot and bothered about corporations owning distilleries. I don't really, and a lot of the time I don't really know why. I can understand whenever they feel, oh, we're being cheated as a customer because of the mass production of stuff. But there's James Dougherty coming on, and I think James would probably be quite happy if he could produce whiskey on a volume that people are drinking, something akin to what some of the big distilleries on Islay would do. I mean, you don't have to sell out to appeal to people. There's this sort of, I'm a purist, I only like this style. Well, that's fine, but the vast majority of people don't. Diageo do what Diageo do, and obviously they do something right. So the distilleries, as far as I'm aware, a lot of the time are left to carry on. There's a reason they buy these things to carry on doing what they're doing. And okay, they'll change bits and pieces of it, but it doesn't really bother me that much. A lot of the time,
Right, we've had a couple. There's another name in the hat. There's another name in the hat tonight. Big JJ, based in Dublin, but I'll get there. Put a message on your other vid. Have we his name in the hat? I don't think I've told you about him, have I?
Don't know.
I'll just have to check to see what this message is.
Tony's asking about the news. We'll just put this out. The news, we get a notification. Do you know the jingle that we put in? We can't even do it. We get a notification basically the last sort of 4 or 5 weeks telling us that we were using copyrighted material in music and that we were being restricted and they weren't going to show the show. Even though the music is freely available, it was free to download, free, and there's no copyright on it, Sony flagged that up. We got a notification today to tell us that some of our past videos will not be being broadcast in the US because they have changed some licensing law over there, even though this is freely available music. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It just is. It's ridiculous. Sorry for swearing.
But it is ridiculous. It is ridiculous because I already contested it and they agreed that it was copyright-free music from Apple. But then
every week it was contested, and every week they said no, it's not, and every week it kept getting flagged up, which is just pathetic,
Well, not. I mean, there's some weeks it didn't for some reason. But listen, we better. Big JJ, I have looked on the messages and I cannot find a message from you. So it's as well you said. We'll always message you back if you message us and we read it. We'll always message it or acknowledge it. Maybe a day or two, but we'll always message it. So, Big JJ, you message me back, all right? You message me back. I know you're watching on YouTube because it comes up. So do get in touch, Big JJ. We'll put another.
JJ, you're not one of the ones that keeps putting in porn messages on the YouTube every week. We've got a video or some way, but somebody was on something before. That is not. We try and delete those guys as quickly as possible.
We do. There's James Moore Doherty saying, "What's the average height of this distillery in Islay? Nothing like space, I reckon."
Well, I mean, to be fair, the output of some of them is fairly large. Kalila's, I don't know the output of all of them, but I mean, Kalila has a big output and Bowmore has a big output. But I mean, they're not a huge size, James. But Speyside, I mean, Speyside distilleries. Let's be honest, it's the real engine of Scotch whisky. But the they're churning out a lot of stuff, but nothing on the scale of the big guys, like the bigger guys.
Hey, listen, there's some Peter. It's Peter Stewart says Justin should write a piece for the show. I'm multi-talented, Peter, but I'm tone deaf. You have no mention of me ever writing any piece of music. I do know some people that have wanted to write. I had this mate, but he went and bloody died. I'd asked him to write a piece of music for me. He died. He did die.
That's
and if another mate that's
I've heard notes coming out of Justin, but I don't want to say what
they're always B flat. Let's see. Listen, Peter Stewart's also worried about the prices on the rise. Yes, yeah. That's why we're worried about. This is a big, powerful boat to go through the waves, and yes, hopefully it's going the right direction rather than getting more expensive. We're not going to be like an airline company and charge fuel surcharges, not. But what I'll do is I'm going to go through all the names this week, see how many we have, because we're running out of spaces. Make sure we have space for everybody. Otherwise, I'll have to take it off sick and fly instead, like Vic.
I know, I'd end up paying for it. That would be the problem.
yeah, but if I get down there and the waves are like 15 foot high, I might say I'll just have a chip here and go to Bushmills. I'll do the filming in Bushmills. And then Square is yes, boys. Very surprised to see you tonight. Yes. Different night. You were at the tattoo in Edinburgh last night, weren't you? Yeah.
I got the tattoo again in Edinburgh last night. I'm working, so that's why I'm in where the fuck am I? Norton House Hotel in Edinburgh. So yeah, I was at the tattoo again last night. I do enjoy it. People love the tattoo. It's great to see it back. Edinburgh today was rammed. I mean, rammed with people.
Was it
pre-COVID level people? I got bought a present today, Justin. I bought a present today. Lots of people from the US laugh whenever I say this. I did catch myself out. I didn't realize I said this one time. Because you say these things. I was talking about the wee Helian coo, the wee Highland cow.
Yeah.
With these on the thing, right? Which they're dead cute. They really are. And I was saying, they make loads of different things. They're bred for beef. People don't like when you say they're bred for beef because of it. Anyway, and I said they don't really milk them because they're quite small and hard to milk, but you can actually get some hairy coo cheese. Now, this isn't funny to people in the UK, but a girl earlier on in the year, she thought this was the funniest thing in the world, and she says, "Oh, do you like hairy coo cheese?" And I said, "Oh, I love hairy coo cheese. I could eat it in the morning, no problem at all." Do you know? Do you know what a coochie is in America? Just
is it like a critter from
no.
Beverly Hillbillies?
No. It's how would we put this? How can I put this in a delicate way so that Zuckerberg doesn't take us off the air? Shall we say a lady parts? Lady parts.
Is that another name for a home?
Yes. Lady parts. So basically, whenever you're saying, I love a bit of hairy coo cheese, people from the States find this very funny. So they bought me this. This is hairy coo condiments. One of them is for putting all over your hairy coo cheese.
Lovely. Lovely. Look, of course, that looks delicious. You can bring that home for me. That'll do me. I love stuff like that.
Yeah.
Now listen. I've checked. Now you see the way the music's affected by copyright. Well, if we don't read out a message, it could be that your privacy settings is on Google. So when you type it in here, because this is a big corporation directly connected with Facebook and YouTube, I can see the message. So I can see the message and put it on screen like this. I can put it on like this. Big JJ. I put it in the comments and it appears on screen because it lifts it and puts it on. But when I go and look after the show in YouTube, it ain't there. Okay, it's the nuances of the internet. Okay, it's the nuances of the internet. It ain't there. So you need to direct messages. Okay, so go on our Facebook, Irish Whiskey Review on Facebook, and hit send message. And it'll pop up on Marty's phone or Marty's email or your email and my phone. I can't remember what way around it does it, but it'll come through. It'll come through. So Big JJ, direct messages. Okay, and we'll get back to you tonight. Okay. I will try and find it and message you, but I'm not going to give you our telephone number publicly, and I don't want you to give you credit cards around like publicly. We'll do it all through PayPal. All right, so don't do that. Somebody with a Northern Ireland accent is not going to ring you up and says, "Big JJ, I need your card number for the boat trip to Islay. I'll come down and personally baseball bat you if you do that." All right.
Who you going? What are you talking about?
There are fraudsters on the internet would see this show, contact the viewers, try to get money of them. No, this is a real boat trip. You're really going to go, but don't put in any confidential stuff publicly. That's why we want you to direct messages. All right, direct messages. Nothing in public about your telephone number or your address, because there's people on the internet would say, "I know that fella. He's away to Islay for the day on Saturday, the 1st of October. Let's go around and take his 55-inch color TV." That's the way people do on the internet. I don't read
anybody's head like that there, Justin. Don't be giving anybody any suggestions.
I know. Listen, I know that. There's people read the Daily Mail and they live in fear of these things happen, but you have to think smart about it. Anyway. So anyway, that's me off and around. So listen, Russ B is saying, wish I was closer for the tour, but on the plus side, I'll be an Isle of Whiskey tour on September the 18th for 4 days. Jesus, rub it in, Russ B. Rub it in.
Some of us have to work, thankfully.
And listen, I tell you what, it's not cheap to stay in Islay. Sure, it isn't when you're there.
No, it's not. To be honest, it's not cheap to stay anywhere these days. And certainly not if you rent a car. Bloody hell, the price of stuff's got ridiculous. Justin had a 55-inch TV until he said he was away one day, and then somebody nicked it.
Tony Sillett, what is it about Dad's Army theme tune? No, I know it's like Dad's Army does whiskey, but that would be funny. But listen, Russ B, they're all laughing at me going mad. William McClellan saying hello, guys. Yes, is William booked to go? I think he is. But there you go.
No, William's not.
He can't go. Tony said, "Is it rude?" Yes, it is rude. I've never heard it called a mahoochie before. Have you?
A coochie.
A coochie? What language is that from?
American.
I'm not joking. Yeah, if Peppa the Pig said something like that, I would think that was normal. Okay, it's not.
People from the US find it dead funny. I didn't realize it was funny when I first said it, but
all right. Here. I can show you. James and Moira Doherty says I can show your number on screen if you like. Listen, Richard Madley actually did share somebody's number on screen once on TV, wasn't there? And it brought the telephone network down. Now we don't have that many viewers to bring the telephone network down, but in some countries, this almost counts as broadcasting. I wouldn't share somebody's number unless they wanted shared, okay? Because you do get weirdos. I get weirdos phoning me as it is anyway. So,
if you were phoning yourself, I think that could be categorized as that.
I know, but I'm only pretending to be weird. These are actual real weirdos. Let me see.
Other people be the judge of that, Justin. Phrases no recommendation.
Is it not a one way? Is it not a one-way trip in the boat? Is it no, Tony?
No.
It's not a dream.
In the evening.
Yeah, we're leaving and coming back. It's not a one-way trip. Some of us might wish it's a one-way trip, right?
Who knows? Whenever you get to meet Justin, it might be a one-way trip or something.
Justin, do you have a 55-inch TV? Listen, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to send you a picture of my 55-inch TV with a coochie coo on it. Let me see. Okay, if you insist. Very good. Bowmore House B&B. It's a long time coming. Oh, you've booked up and saved for a long while. You can't go. Always can't go. Now, this is about privacy, right? This is a good example of privacy in the internet. So, William McLennan says, "I can't go," right? And they are two crying eyes he's put, but they aren't appearing as crying eyes. The internet is changing them into.
What are you talking about? They're crying eyes. I can see they're crying eyes.
No. You see the way you can see the crying eyes, right? Okay, they're not. Okay, they're not.
They are.
No, they're not. All right, I'll prove it to you. You ready?
Dun dun dun.
So users say it the same way as I'm not playing the music, but it's playing. But there you go. You're seeing crying eyes, but there are no crying eyes. That is how scary the internet is. It isn't real. It can control your mind, right? Just so you know that. All right.
Where's the tinfoil? Where's the tinfoil egg at wee hat fashioned?
Well, but listen, all joking aside, that proves what I'm trying to explain to you. So he's put the crying eyes, and there are no crying eyes. But there you go. Well, isn't that weird? You can see them, but I can't see them here. Isn't that weird? So that's the thing about privacy, right? Then I push over this. Just James Murdoch, just trying to help. Listen, I know you're.
Oh, hang on, he's disappeared on me.
Good in the internet. I know you're good in the internet, James. Who?
You disappeared on me.
No.
That's you're messing me, his lordship. You're messing.
No, I haven't touched any.
Trying to go for us again.
I haven't touched any buttons. It's the nuances of the internet. It's the nuances. So let me see what else everybody else is here. We haven't even done all the distilleries yet, and the show's nearly over. We're 3/4 of the way to. Wait till I move to the UK, then I'll be in more into your tours. Bit of a long way from Ontario, Canada, right way. We feel terrible. Somebody came over from Canada to visit us, Marty, and we weren't here. Let me see. Let me see.
Picked up this pen. This is one of those 4 thingy pens. And upon this, it looks like it came from Ann Summers. It's like a, do you know what I mean? It looks like some sort of toy.
Hey, here, William said, did Justin just say he pretends to be weird? That's a good one. That's a good one. You're so witty, William. Jody Berg, where are you going this week, Marty? Where are you going this week?
Home. I'm getting home to go to my own bed. Thank Christ. No, I get to go home to the beautiful little village that I live in. I'll be home tomorrow afternoon. I have work all week. I've worked all week. At home.
And the good news is you can't take me to Steady Eddie's for lunch because he's getting new kitchen equipment in Lawrence, so we can't go and have noodles or anything like that there.
I've actually a doctor's appointment. It just dawned on me. I have a doctor's appointment this week.
There's Rusby saying, well, the internet, Facebook, and YouTube are all necessarily is the best way to communicate. They are, but I'll give you an example of YouTube. I know somebody's got a channel on YouTube and they've reached monetization level, and YouTube don't want to monetize it because he discusses controversial subjects on it.
Yeah.
So, Channel 4 did controversial things and put a little triangle in the corner, and they were allowed. So if you think free speech is real, think again.
Well, put it like this, look at Salman Rushdie.
Yeah.
Salman Rushdie said that free speech, the point of free speech is you have to say stuff that people find offensive, but if you don't like it.
Anyway, what we're going...
Russ is how's the not buying whiskey going? Ross, to be honest with you, buddy, I haven't really bought that huge amount of bottles because at the minute I'm spending quite a lot of time in Scotland, and I'm not doing checked luggage, so taking stuff back and forth. But I in the last month I haven't bought that much. I think I just bought nine balls.
Now, look very carefully, folks. This is the storage yard at Marty's house in Glenara. No, it's not. It's not. It's one of the storage places in Islay. Listen, it is. How does the whiskey get off Islay then, Marty? How does it get off Islay? Do they trucks over? Do they bring in ships?
To it over, they boat it over. They can't truck it because there's no bridge off Islay, so they have to truck it, or they have to ship it. They can't truck it. So they ship it over for bottling, I'm sure. Where is a bot? Is there a bottling plant on Islay? I can't remember. I'm too tired. If I'm honest. I can't remember if there's a bottling plant in Islay. I don't think there is, to be honest. I don't think so. But yeah.
If we were doing the news this week, we'd be telling you about Teddy expanding their bottling plant, wouldn't we?
Yeah. Well, there's things that we should really tell on the news, but to be honest, it's partly to do with the fact that I'm working every day at the minute, which is a long time coming, to be fair. But yeah, so I do apologize, guys. We need to get a bit more.
We'll get back into it after the summer. I'm actually hoping to get out canoeing this week, but the weather is looking to be turned for the worse, actually, believe it or not.
Because Devon's here today.
Was it Bucket? No, it was lovely here today, but it looks like the weather's actually going to come in. To
be fair, it was beautiful in the morning, and then this afternoon, about 4 or 5 o'clock, it was absolutely tanking it down here, thunder and lightning as well in Edinburgh.
Okay, well, there you go. We'll just recap then. Basically, if you want to go with us, I mean, if I'm counting this up, we're very limited space left, Marty. Don't we really?
Very, very limited space. So if you want to come, do let us know. And Big JJ, send us a message because I didn't get it. And
I'm looking again here through the mall, and I cannot see any from anybody called Big JJ. I can't even see yours on the video tonight, which is weird.
Oh.
When I look on YouTube, but I can see it when I look on the streaming software that we use. So I don't know what's going on there, folks. But would want to get first come first served names into the hat. So I'm going to go looking for Big JJ's details to make sure I can find him.
He's a boomer, so there you go. JJ, we all need to last about 20 years, and then we'll be able to figure that shit out.
Okay.
He does all that stuff, and I don't even know. Am I pointing in the right direction, Justin?
Right, Alex. No, the other way. Right, I'll explain to you where you can find a message, Big JJ. Right, so you're watching on YouTube, right? And along the top of YouTube, on our page, which is Irish Whiskey Review, there should be an About tab. It goes Home, Videos, Playlists, Community, Channels, About. And if you click the About tab, it then goes down there, Details, and you can actually see details, and it says View Email Address. Now I can show this, right? But I won't show the email address in case the bots get us, right? So I'm going to show this on screen. Right? I'm going to hide all this, hide that, and I'm going to share a screen of the Chrome tab of Irish Whiskey Review on Facebook. Right, and then I'm going to put it into the screen on its own, right? So it's massive, right? Massive on its own, and we're going to go hide, solo on. There it is, there, right? So you see that there, right? I'm going to hide your tab, right? And you can see it says View Email Address there, right down here where I'm circling. So when you click that button, you'll be able to view the email address to email us directly. All right. And the reason the internet does that is to hide it so the bots can't go through and find it. So you might need to copy it down and type it into your email system and mightn't click through. That's how to get in contact directly with us, Big JJ. So there you go. You should be able to work that out. All right. No worries. If not, ask a 12-year-old in the family how to work the internet. But you'll get there. It's getting easier all the time. YouTube's the best place to watch us as well, actually, because on YouTube we're more than halfway towards being monetized, which means that we'll get a wee bit of ad revenue. Like we're talking £1 or £2 once we reach the 1,000 level, and once we reach the 1 million level, Amazon will maybe make the show called Irish Whiskey Review, and they'll replace me with something that's 25 and has a hoogie moogie.
But I tell you, he tells me this shit all the time, and I just yep. Easy. Okay. Absolutely simple, the wiser.
There's Rusby saying confusion, especially we've been drinking all afternoon. No, Whitney.
But no, So guys, we'll have a really, really fun day. There's a couple of good guys going that you'll have a laugh and a giggle with, and you'll enjoy it. You really will.
All right.
A really, really good day out, and be a laugh and a bit of an adventure. You'll have a good drink, and there'll be plenty of people there just to we can all bounce off each other and have a really good day out. Because I think I'm really looking forward to it, because we're back. It's now sort of feels a bit more normal. There's still the whole COVID thing over the top of it, but we have getting away and going doing stuff like this. Back to what it should be, you know.
It is great stuff. Right, great show this week again. Remember to comment, like, and share. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on LinkedIn, we're on Twitch, we're on Telegram. We're going to Islay on Saturday, the 1st of October, 10 a.m. from Ballycastle. Coming back 4:30 from Port Ellen, or just up from one of the whiskey distilleries' keys. We'll certainly have a good time. We had a brilliant time the last time, and it was rough. The weather should be good on the 1st of October.
It was rough, but it's perfectly safe.
It's perfectly safe. It's perfectly safe. And yes, look forward to it. Tony, 98. Sorry, there's no news again. Back next Saturday, same time. Hopefully next week we'll record one during the week. I think we will. Yeah.
Bear with me. I just need to check one wee thing for next week.
There's Peter Stewart's asking, how are we getting to it from Ballycastle? You need to get a lift there. Get a lift there. Get a lift there, because you'll be drunk on the way back. Now, we are back early enough that you can get the bus and the train back home, but that's a whole trek. Get a lift there. Get the wife, the girlfriend, the partner, or your mates that are going fishing or going down to Portrush for the day, or driving around the Antrim Coast. Get them to pick you up on the way through, okay? Yeah. So that's the mechanics of it. The mechanics of the last time is some people that weren't drinking drove, and then some people drove and stayed over. Some people got picked up. So all options are on the cards, all options are on the cards. Because I think one of the last trip, didn't somebody's wife lift us all home? I think they did.
There was two people. One guy's wife drove half the guys there, and another guy who wasn't drinking. He doesn't drink very much. I think he had maybe one whiskey all day or whatever. He drove a pile of other guys, and there's another couple staying and stuff. So
there you go. So it's a good idea not to. You can stay over if you want, but that's a completely separate deal. Completely separate deal. Because if we had to get a bus, it would add another 100 to it easy. I would say, yeah.
You and I both know the cost of hiring buses these days is phenomenal too. But anyway,
swim. All right. Good night, everybody. Take it easy.
Cheers. We'll back in the promised land tomorrow. Okay. Take care.
All right. Cheers. Bye.